The Galactic Council sat in silence. For the first time in over 200 years, every species, every empire, every voice on the council floor was quiet. The usual noise, the arguments, the pride, gone. Only fear remained. The moon of Xanthus had been cracked in half. No attack fleet, no visible enemy, no demands. Just a message written in molten stone. You betrayed Earth. Earth remembers. High Chancellor Valor stood slowly. He looked out at the assembly, eyes heavy. This is no longer a rumor, no longer a ghost story. Earth has returned. They were supposed to be gone, someone shouted. They were silenced, another cried. No, Valor replied. They were waiting. He activated a central screen, and dozens of images flashed. Abandoned stations reigniting, human-designed stealth ships moving like phantoms, and broken moons leaving messages in burning rock. Systems were failing one by one, but no one knew how. Every time a world fell dark, Earth's name followed. We are not facing a war, Valor said. We are facing something worse, vengeance without sound, justice without mercy. In the back of the chamber, an ambassador of the Zarin species whispered to his aide, Earth was weak once. What gave them this power? The answer came from behind them. They were never weak. You just never heard their cry. Everyone turned. A woman stood at the edge of the chamber, wrapped in a dark cloak. A symbol of Earth's military burned into her shoulder. The guards didn't stop her. They couldn't. Their weapons refused to activate. The room fell into panic. Who are you? The High Chancellor asked. I am Elara, she said, Earth's last true voice, and I am not alone. At her signal, a hologram filled the chamber. It showed a hidden armada, massive ships in deep space, invisible to sensors. Each one marked with the Earth emblem, a circle of stars around a single flame. These ships were never destroyed, Elara said. They were hidden, scattered across the galaxy, waiting for this moment. A council member shouted, Why? Reveal them now? Because we warned you, she replied. We begged for help, and you turned away. You left Earth to die. A new image appeared. An ancient signal log, Earth's final cry before its silence. The same signal the galaxy had ignored. But now, hidden code within the cry was unlocked. It wasn't just a message, it was a trigger. The cry had activated something no one outside Earth had ever known. Project Requital. Built in secret long ago, it was Earth's last answer to betrayal. An automatic awakening of its hidden fleets, forgotten tech, and deep space watchers. Machines that thought like ghosts. Ships that traveled without light. Weapons that needed no armies. We didn't come to conquer, Elara said. We came to show you what silence creates. She walked to the center of the council chamber. You erased our name from history, she said. Now the galaxy chants it in fear. The High Chancellor tried to speak, but before he could answer, all power in the chamber shut down. Every light, every screen. Darkness swallowed the room, and in that darkness one word echoed, not from Elara, but from the walls themselves. Rewritten by Earth's old code. Listen, the lights came back. Elara was gone. So were 10 council members. Their seats were empty. Only a single Earth emblem remained, glowing faintly where they had once stood. Panic broke loose. Outside, across the capital world, every screen lit up with the same phrase in every known language. We asked for help. You gave us silence. Now silence answers you. In the following days, the council tried to respond, but their communications failed. Fleets went missing. Internal systems shut down. It was like Earth had rewritten reality itself, using old codes buried deep inside the tech they had once shared with the galaxy. Because long ago, when Earth had helped build the Council's communication web, they had left behind keys. Sleeper. Programs, harmless unless triggered. Now they were awake. On the far edge of space, a lone station known as Blackspire listened to the silence. The crew there had no role in Earth's betrayal. They had even tried to help. Yet even they were afraid. But something strange happened. A message came to them. It was not a threat. It was a warning. Your hands stayed clean. Stay hidden. When the fire comes, it will not touch you. And just like that, the signal vanished. Commander, Lyra of Blackspire looked out into the stars. Earth, they're not just fighting back, she whispered. They're choosing who to spare. Across the galaxy, the message was clear. Earth was not burning everything, only those who had betrayed them. But how far would their justice go, and what would be left standing when they were done? The stars were quiet again, but not with peace. It was the silence before a storm. Across the galaxy, chaos had slowed. The destruction had paused. Earth's ghost fleets had vanished into the dark. Some thought it was over, that Earth had made its point. But those who knew better understood one terrible truth. Earth wasn't finished. They were waiting for a response. The Galactic Council, broken and afraid, held one last emergency meeting. Dozens of seats were empty. Entire empires had fallen, or gone silent. Systems had shut down without warning. Planets had lost power, orbiting dead in space like forgotten stones. Only a few members remained. High Chancellor Valor, once proud and confident, looked like a shadow of himself. He turned to the remaining council. "We made a mistake," he said. "A deadly one." No one argued. Everyone remembered Earth's silent cry, the call for help that had been ignored. Everyone remembered the quiet revenge that followed. And now, Earth's final step was approaching. From deep space, a new signal appeared. It wasn't like the others. No coded warnings, no hacked systems, no disappearing ships. It was a simple broadcast, open to all. The message began. A human voice spoke, steady and cold. "This is Earth. We are not your enemy. We did not want war. We asked for help, and you gave us silence. But we are not weak. We are not broken. We are awake." The voice paused. "You erased us from your records. You turned your backs. You let us burn. Now, we leave behind our own message." The screen changed. It showed a map of the galaxy. Thousands of stars. Some glowed blue, some glowed red. The blue ones were untouched. The red had been silenced. Then a circle appeared, glowing white. It showed Earth's new boundary, a massive zone reaching deep into known space. "This," the voice said, "is Earth's territory now. We claim no more, and we ask for nothing. But hear this. If any fleet crosses into this zone, if any empire steps inside, if even a single probe enters our silence, then we will return. And next time, there will be no warning." The message ended with a single symbol, a flame inside a broken chain. The stars dimmed, the galaxy listened, and Earth went quiet again. Ships vanished back into the void. Weapons powered down. Human signals disappeared like shadows into the cold, but they were still there, watching, waiting. Across the galaxy, survivors tried to rebuild. Some celebrated. Others lived in fear. Some saw Earth as monsters. Others called them saviors. But one thing was clear. No one would ignore a whisper again. And far from the centers of power, on a small planet forgotten by most, a child looked up at the night sky. "Mom," she asked, "what was Earth like?" Her mother, a teacher, hesitated. Then she smiled softly. Earth was like a star that burned quietly. People thought it was small, but inside, it held fire. "Did they save the galaxy?" the girl asked. Her mother looked toward the stars. They reminded the galaxy, she said, that silence is not weakness, that forgotten people can still change everything. In deep space, one last signal traveled slowly, endlessly across the stars. A whisper, soft but eternal. We remember. And the galaxy would never forget. In the cold outer rings of the galaxy, a small cargo ship named Hollow Runner vanished without warning. It wasn't attacked, no explosions, no wreckage. One moment it was sending its daily report, and the next it was gone. No distress call, no trace, just silence. This was the 7th ship to disappear in 2 weeks. Captain Relka of the Devorian Trade Guild stared at the blinking report in disbelief. These were safe zones, mapped, cleared, protected. Nothing was supposed to happen there. But now, entire crews were vanishing like shadows in deep space. And each disappearance had one strange thing in common. The last word spoken in every final log was Earth. Relka reported the case to the Galactic Council, but they gave no answer. She wasn't surprised. The Council didn't want to believe Earth could be connected. They thought they had ended Earth's influence long ago, quietly, without war. But the disappearances continued. One day later, on the research station Orbit 12, a team of scientists found something terrifying in the remains of an old data relay. The relay had been dead for over a decade, buried in cosmic dust. But when powered up, it played a message, an echo from Earth's final cry. It wasn't a call for help. It was a warning. If you choose silence, the message said in a cold human voice, then silence will answer you. The voice didn't shout. It didn't sound angry, but it sent chills through the room. Something about it felt alive, watching. One of the scientists ran the voice print through old human records. The match was impossible. The voice belonged to a man who had died 200 years ago. General Arik Thorne, Earth's last defense commander. That's when panic began to spread. Ships rerouted, patrols doubled, and across the outer colonies, whispers grew louder. The phrase, silent retribution, started appearing in secret networks. No one knew where it came from, but everyone knew what it meant. Someone or something was avenging Earth. On the world of Ventari, a group of warlords gathered to discuss the rumors. They had once helped plan Earth's betrayal. Now, one of them was missing. Warlord Tazam, known for his cruelty, had vanished from his private cruiser without a single alarm. His guards were found asleep, eyes open, mouths frozen in silent screams. Not a single shot had been fired. The message left behind on Tazam's ship was clear. One sentence carved into the steel of the control panel. We remember. Back on Earth, Commander Ilara reviewed the deep space recordings again. More strange signals were showing up, dark signals, traveling without light or sound, only visible, through ancient human tech. Ships, stealth units, probes, old human designs, but upgraded. Smarter, invisible to modern systems. These weren't ghosts. They were something Earth had hidden long ago. In the black files of Earth's forgotten archives, a hidden defense plan was once created, called Project Warden, a network of AI warships and agents spread across deep space, programmed to activate only if Earth was ever silenced by betrayal. No one had spoken of the project in over a century. Now it was active. One by one, the old watchers were waking up. Machines hidden inside moons, satellites disguised as asteroids, human sleeper ships buried under alien cities, all of them now listening, all of them now moving. The Council finally took notice. In a private chamber, the Galactic High Chancellor sat with 4 senior species leaders. Panic hung heavy in the air. We believed Earth had no backup, the Chancellor said. We believed they would scream, not whisper. They never scream, replied Ambassador Keylor. That's what makes them dangerous. The Council ordered a fleet to be sent to Earth's last known outpost. Not to attack, just to observe. Just to make sure Earth was really gone. The fleet never arrived. Halfway through the journey, all 12 ships vanished. No trace, no signals. But a single pod was returned. It drifted into Council space, its outer shell burned with 3 simple words. You chose silence. Across the galaxy, fear grew. Not from war, not from bombs or invasions, but from the unknown. Someone was removing threats silently, one by one, without sound, without warning. No grand speeches, no demands, just quiet revenge. On a dark moon, long forgotten, a child looked up at the sky and pointed. His father followed the direction and saw nothing. But the child kept whispering, "They're coming, the ones we left behind." And deep in space, another human ship awoke. Its crew was no longer human. They had become something more, something built from pain, betrayal, and time. They were the ones who vanished first. Now they were returning. The city of Alvaron Prime had never known fear. Floating above the golden clouds of planet Soraya, it was a hub of luxury, power, and arrogance. Its towers touched the stars. Its leaders believed they were untouchable, safe, untouched by the quiet rumors spreading across the galaxy. That ended at midnight. Without warning, the sky turned red. The central power grid shut down. Lights failed. Defense systems collapsed. Thousands of people looked up and saw burning letters written in the sky, flames shaped by something unseen. Earth remembers. Then the fire came. Not from missiles, not from ships. It came from the very systems the city trusted. Its own satellites, its own machines, hacked and twisted into weapons. Fire rained down on command centers, databanks, and high offices. Not a single civilian was touched. Only the powerful were hit. The people screamed, but above them the stars were quiet. Across the galaxy, the message spread fast. Someone had attacked Alvaron Prime, without being seen, without being stopped, and without firing a single ship-based weapon. It wasn't war. It was a warning. On a military base on the planet Drexos, a commander named Coltan watched the report in silence. His hands trembled. He was one of the men who had signed the betrayal pact, the one that left Earth isolated, abandoned, and silent. They had blocked Earth's signals, erased its voice from every galactic channel. Now Earth had found another way to speak. The other officers on Drexos tried to prepare a response, but when they activated their defense grid, it exploded in their faces. All systems linked to Earth's original networks had been turned into traps, waiting quietly for years until they were needed. This wasn't random, it was personal. Meanwhile, in the outer zone near the Quarix Rift, a scavenger crew discovered something strange, an old human ship floating cold in space. But it wasn't abandoned. Inside, the walls were marked with ancient writing, human writing. Each room had a sentence, burned into the metal. The captain read one aloud. "For every voice silenced, a storm shall answer." They left in fear, not even touching the ship. Hours later, their own vessel vanished without a trace. On the other side of the galaxy, whispers grew louder. Old enemies of Earth, pirates, raiders, former warlords began to disappear. Their bases were found empty, their data logs erased. In one case, only a single symbol was left behind, a human eye, surrounded by stars. Even those who had nothing to do with Earth's past betrayal started to worry. If Earth could strike the powerful in silence, what could it do to the weak? And then something changed. The Galactic Council finally admitted the truth. In a broadcast sent across every major system, the High Chancellor stood before billions and said, "We wronged Earth. We turned our backs when they needed us. We believed silence would erase them." He paused. But Earth has returned, not with armies, not with speeches, but with fire and shadow. And now we must answer. The feed. Cut out, because Earth answered first. Every system that had helped silence Earth went dark for 10 seconds. Just 10. But in that short moment, every screen in the galaxy lit up with the same message, written in the human language. You didn't hear our cry. Now hear our fury. And just like that, the screens went black again. 10 seconds. That's all it took. The panic that followed was worse than war. Trade routes froze. Ships refused to launch. Worlds shut their ports. No one trusted anyone. All feared the same thing, that Earth wasn't just fighting back. It was teaching the galaxy what silence really meant. Far from the chaos, on the edge of the galaxy, the last surviving Earth commander, Alara, stood aboard a deep space dreadnought. Vigilant. Dawn. She watched the Council's message, then turned to her crew. They thought we would die in silence, she said. We answered in silence. Beside her stood machines once human, now reborn through forgotten tech and ancient AI. Not monsters, not killers, but guardians of vengeance. Alara gave one simple command: send the next warning. In a few hours, the sky above the war-broker planet Zenthis turned crimson. Its moon cracked, not from weapons, but from gravity engines awakened. Beneath its surface, engines buried by humans long ago disguised as mining tools. There were no deaths, but the moon split in two. On it, words glowed for all to see, written in molten stone. You betrayed Earth. Earth remembers. The night above Earth was calm, but inside the last orbiting space station, silence carried fear. Lights flickered weakly in the cold metal hallways. Most systems had gone dark. Commander Alara stood by the main console, her hands trembling slightly, as she prepared the last transmission. The station had been quiet for too long. No messages from the colonies, no news from the Galactic Council, just static. The stars outside sparkled peacefully, but peace was a lie now. Earth had been part of the Galactic Alliance for over a century. It had contributed science, medicine, and brave soldiers. Humanity had saved entire species from extinction. But now, when Earth needed help, no one answered. Supply ships stopped arriving. Long-range satellites were shut down. It was as if the galaxy had turned its back on humanity. And worst of all, there was no warning, no war, no reason. Just silence. Alara knew something had gone terribly wrong. She remembered the Council's last words before all contact was lost. Your presence is no longer required. That was weeks ago. Since then, Earth's cities had dimmed. Factories stopped, skies cleared, but not because of peace, because of fear. The betrayal was silent, cruel, and complete. They had been cut off and left to die without a fight. Now, Alara pressed the final button. A low hum filled the station as the last message launched into space. It wasn't loud. It wasn't angry. It was a whisper, a simple cry for help, not meant for the Council. Not meant for friends, just meant for anyone, or anything, still listening. She didn't expect an answer. She didn't expect mercy. But it was all they had left. The signal left Earth's orbit, passed through broken satellites and abandoned outposts, and moved into deep space. Stars shifted slowly around it. Empty, cold, endless space. Days passed, then weeks. On Earth, hope faded. People turned inward. Underground bunkers filled with silent crowds. Children stopped asking when help would come. They already knew. But, far away, something changed. In a forgotten part of the galaxy, where maps had long since faded and no star lanes remained, a single ship opened its eyes. It was old. Older than the Council. Older than the war that built the galaxy. It had been sleeping for a long time, hidden in a field of dead moons. It had no crew, only a purpose, to listen, and now it had heard. The signal was weak, but it was clear. The language was human. But the pain in the message was universal. The ship stirred. Systems reactivated. Ancient engines lit up like fire in the dark. Somewhere inside the ship, data moved quickly. Names, histories, battles, Earth's past began to fill the ship's memory. A small red dot appeared on its map. Earth. It started moving. Back near Earth, Ilara sat in the dark control room. She hadn't left her post. She hadn't spoken much. There was nothing left to say. Around her, the few remaining officers slept in turns. Food supplies were low. Energy levels were falling. Earth's leaders had stopped meeting. Everyone waited. For an ending they could not see. Then something blinked on the screen, a single ping. Deep range. Direction. Outer unknown sector. At first, Ilara thought it was a mistake. The computers were failing. Sensors were unreliable. But the ping came again. And then again. Something was out there. Something old. And it was coming closer. The galaxy, meanwhile, remained quiet. The council held meetings behind closed doors. Some leaders whispered about Earth's silence. Others claimed Earth was already dead. No one cared enough to check. The betrayal had worked. Earth had vanished. But in the shadows of stars, that one ship moved silently. It didn't speak. It didn't ask. It simply followed the signal. Across systems, past drifting wrecks of old ships, through dark space where no one watched. Back on Earth, the people noticed the sky had changed. Faint lights now appeared in patterns they hadn't seen before. Radar towers picked up waves they couldn't understand. Old scientists stared at the signals for hours. Something was moving out there. Something not from the council. Commander Ilara finally smiled after weeks of stillness. "They heard us," she whispered. No one knew what was coming. Not the council. Not Earth. But deep in space, something ancient was awake again. And it was heading straight for the planet everyone had left behind. The cry had been small, almost silent. But now, the stars themselves had begun to tremble. The peaceful colony world of Velon Prime woke up to strange shadows in the sky. Its twin suns had not risen yet, but people could already feel something was wrong. Farmers paused mid-step. Children stopped playing. And above them, dozens of silent ships floated in the upper atmosphere. They weren't from the Galactic Council. They had no flags, no call signs, just black metal, cold and waiting. No one knew where they had come from. Velon's defense systems did not respond. The machines weren't broken. They simply refused to lock on to the new ships. They didn't register as threats. They didn't register at all. The colony's leaders called for answers from the council. No response. No answers. And then, the ships vanished. No attack. No landing. Just gone, as suddenly as they had appeared. But the fear remained. Across the galaxy, small things began to happen. Ships disappeared in safe zones. Communications broke for a few minutes at a time in core worlds. Military drones glitched mid-patrol. Nothing large, nothing violent, but enough to cause whispers. And those whispers were always the same. Earth had sent out a cry. Something had heard it. The Council ignored these rumors. They believed Earth had been dealt with. Silently removed, yes, but necessary. Humanity had grown too ambitious, too unpredictable. The silent betrayal was supposed to stop Earth before it became dangerous. But now, quiet fear crept through council halls. What if they were wrong? Ambassador Kalor of the Denari species paced inside the council's communication chamber. He had once called Earth his friend. He remembered how humans had saved his planet from a supernova years ago. "We abandoned them," he said softly to no one. "And now, someone is moving." Some members believed the strange ship sightings were pirates or rogue AIs. But not Kalor. He believed in something deeper. He remembered Earth's history, how humans never screamed when in pain, how they acted when no one believed in them, how they rose when no one expected them to. Their silence wasn't weakness, it was warning. Still, no one listened. Far from Council space in the outer zones, an old scavenger station named Thera 9 received a transmission. It was not in any known language. The signal was raw, filled with mechanical noise, but one word came through clearly, repeated again and again: Earth. The station's crew tried to decode it, but their systems began to fail. Screens flickered. Lights dimmed. Their reactor nearly shut down, and then, just as suddenly, everything returned to normal. Except for one thing. Their star charts now showed a new route, one that didn't exist before. A path pointing straight to the Sol system. Scared and confused, the crew sent out a warning. But their message never reached the Council. Something blocked it. Something silent. Something watching. Meanwhile, on a mining moon near the edge of known space, a worker drone spotted a strange object buried deep in the ice. The miners thought it was old junk from a forgotten war. But when they touched it, the ice cracked with a loud roar. A blast of sound and energy pushed back the drilling crew. When they looked again, the object had vanished. All that remained was a scorch mark shaped like Earth's ancient flag. Back on Earth, Commander Ilara stood inside the space station watching new signals appear on her screen. The strange object, the blocked communications, the ships on Velon Prime, everything was being recorded by Earth's hidden satellites. She didn't smile this time. This wasn't rescue. It was something else, something far bigger. Earth's people had begun to notice too. The stars were changing. Some constellations blinked oddly. Animals acted strange. People claimed they saw ships moving across the sky, too fast, too quiet to be natural. The old myths returned, not of aliens or ghosts, but of guardians, humans, who never stopped watching, and in the center of it all, silence. Earth still hadn't responded. Not one message, not one warning. But now, other species started to wonder. What if Earth wasn't dead? What if it had never been weak at all? In a hidden part of the galaxy, where war fleets once clashed long ago, the old ship moved faster now. It had reached the edge of Council, space. No one noticed it. No alarms rang. Its systems were too advanced, too quiet. It passed through defense grids without a sound. It recorded everything. It marked targets. It waited. Then, in a Council archive world, a young technician named Arvon saw something strange in the old war logs. A single entry had changed. An old human victory, long forgotten, now had new information. Operation Sleeping Shield, active. He didn't understand what it meant, but something in his gut told him the galaxy had just made a terrible mistake. The tremble had begun, and Earth hadn't even spoken yet.